Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Southwest.
The Baltimore Orioles came to Texas as the hottest team of this young season, and your Rangers put a stop to it in Game 1. The rally is a beautiful thing, and yesterday's sixth inning was a 5-run dandy, enough to overcome an early O's advantage. Tonight, your Rangers hope to keep moving on the bases when they meet the Baltimore Orioles in Game 2 of this weekend series next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T High-Speed Internet. Well, a beautiful breezy night here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Adrian Beltre, one of the hotter Rangers, getting his teammates and himself set to take on the Baltimore Orioles in Game 2 of this 4-game series. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Delighted you could join us on this Friday night of Ranger Baseball, celebrating Jackie Robinson Day around Major League Baseball. Quite a day. Everybody wearing 42 in honor of the late, great Jackie Robinson. Tonight, the Rangers sending Martin Perez to the mound, Tom, and he's coming off an inconsistent start, but effective.
Yeah, he's been effective, Buzz. The one thing he'll need to do is cut down his walks. He's walked 9 and struck out, I think, 3 in 2 starts. But the one thing that probably could work in his favor tonight is the fact that he's an extreme ground ball pitcher against a team that hits a lot of home runs. Last year, he had just about a 60% ground ball rate. That was 3rd in the American League. Dallas Keuchel, who was number 1, was only a couple of percentage points higher than that. He gets a lot of double plays, and we've seen that already this year. And last year, in around 80 innings, he only gave up 3 home runs. The Orioles over the last 4 years have hit more home runs than any other team in the American League. So hopefully the sinker ball from Martin tonight will counteract that.
Well, the Rangers are hoping that's the case tonight as they take on the O's after winning last night's ballgame. We'll be back to Globe Life Park with more on Jackie Robinson Day right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T high-speed internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Well, on this April 15th, it was 69 years ago today that the immortal Jackie Robinson broke the color line and had his rookie campaign start with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And baseball has celebrated this for the last 19 years now. And let's go down to Emily Jones with more on Jackie Robinson Day.
Yeah, Buzz, such a wonderful day here in Texas and, of course, across Major League Baseball. Delino DeShields really puts things in perspective as far as the meaning of this day.
Without him, you know, who knows where baseball would be, not just for African Americans, but, you know, even Latinos too. He paved the way for a lot for minorities to get an opportunity to play in the big leagues, and yeah, words can't even really, you know, express how grateful I am, you know, for the sacrifices that he made and the things that he did and went through in order to give, you know, us a chance to play this game.
And to a man, everyone you talk to, so honored to put on that number 42 rather, jersey, not just this year, but every year. Delino, of course, one of those guys, everyone really enjoying the experience, and also a little history lesson when you look back on the impact that Jackie Robinson had on this game and also on society, Buzz.
All right, Emily, thank you. Yeah, good points. He really did, and his legacy is alive and well in Major League Baseball today. And Delino DeShields speaking from the heart and very accurately about the importance of Jackie Robinson to all of us. Well, the Orioles getting set to face Martin Perez tonight. Tom's going to tell you about the Baltimore batting order.
Rule 5 draft choice Joey Rickard will lead off. He's hitting .306 this year. Manny Machado off to a great start. He's 4th in the league in hitting. He'll bat 2nd. Adam Jones off to a slow start, batting 3rd. Chris Davis is a cleanup hitter, followed by the DH Mark Trumbo. J.J. Hardy's playing shortstop and batting 6th. Batting 7th is the second baseman Jonathan Scope. Nolan Reinbold is in right field, and the catcher batting 9th is Caleb Joseph.
And that lineup will face Martin Perez, the 25-year-old left-hander from Venezuela. And Martin 0-1 so far this year, but both of his starts have been quality starts, if you will. Tom mentioned the walks last time out, 5 of them against the Angels, and he was able to keep the run damage down reasonably well, considering the 5 walks. He'll look to be a little more consistent in the strike zone here as he deals strike 1 to Joey Rickard. Rickard, a .306 average, a Rule 5 draft pick by the Baltimore Orioles from the Tampa Bay Rays in the offseason. And according to Elias, who keeps record of things like this, Rickard is the first Rule 5 draft to start on opening day for a club after being drafted the winter before.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
Yes, it is.
Matter of fact, the last Oriole to be on an opening day roster and appear in the first week even, Jose Bautista, a Rule 5 draft back in 2004.
Toronto had some pretty good Rule 5 draft picks. I think George Bell was one, if I remember right. Kelly Gruber, I think, was one. That's a nice little stat to have next to your name.
2-2 the count. To left center field. That is going to be up the alley. Over to cut it off to Delino DeShields. He bobbles it, so Rickard not going to stop at second. He is headed around to third, and he will make it without a throw. So Joey Rickard continuing his hot hitting. Delino, in an effort to get over there and cut the ball off, had it just bounce out of his pocket.
Yeah, that was one. He had to go a long way. There was not even going to be a play at second base. So the key is to knock it down, catch it, and try to keep Rickard at second base. You're not going to keep him at first base no matter what happens.
Well, that's going to be scored a double and an error on DeShields to allow Rickard to get to third. He is there with nobody out. Manny Machado, the third baseman, up there now. Takes ball 1. Machado 1 for 4 in last night's game. .421 is average for the season. And this is the 10th game of the year for the Orioles. Two balls, no strikes. Ryan Holiday was going to come up to throw to third, but the only one down there was Rickard. He wasn't going to catch it. Machado, 3 home runs, 4 driven in the early going, a .463 on base percentage. And ball 3 is a little low. Well, Martin being careful with the hot Manny Machado. Machado hitting second in the order. He'll be followed by Adam Jones. Martin still working from the stretch. Runner at third, nobody out. And inside for ball 4. Oh, 2 on with nobody out. Adam Jones coming up. We'll take a look at the rest of the Ranger defense. It's delivered to you tonight by Fred Loya Insurance. You saw Delino in center field. He's flanked by Ian Desmond in left and Nomar Mazara in right. Moreland and Odor on the right side. Andrus and Beltre on the left. Ryan Holiday catching the southpaw Martin Perez. Well, Adam Jones steps in. Jones, as Tom told you, off to a slow start, just 2 for 14. He's been battling an early season rib injury that kept him out of the lineup for the better part of a week. Takes ball 1 outside.
Pretty good attempt right there. He's looking for a double play ball, took a little off, tried to make it tail down and away. Knowing Adam Jones is a notorious first ball hitter, trying to hit anything close.
And he hits one through the hole on the left side into left field. In to score is Rickard. And just like that, 3 batters in, the Orioles have a 1-0 lead. Adam Jones with his 3rd RBI.
Well, there's the ground ball. Unfortunately, they found a hole.
Well, first and second now, still nobody out. And Chris Davis, the first baseman, comes up. Perfectly placed ground ball to drive home the run. Chris Davis steps in hitting at .219. Native Texan didn't get much done in last night's ball game, his first here this year. He 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. He did score a run. 1 ball, no strikes. And this is a situation that the Rangers have really tried to preach to Martin Perez to back off a little bit, slow things down. Instead of trying to throw it harder and harder, try to back off a little bit on velocity, on effort. See if he's able to apply that in a rough first inning. 2-0. And Doug Brocail going to go out and see if he can assist Martin Perez in doing just that. So far for Perez, 13 pitches, 9 of them have been outside the strike zone. Elvis coming in to add something to the conversation, talking to Ryan Holiday as Doug Brocail's talking primarily to Martin Perez. Well, you want to make a quality pitch now to Chris Davis. You don't want to just throw the ball down the middle and say, I need to have a strike. Chris Davis, last year's major league leader in home runs, will lose a ball for you real fast. He went with the breaking ball, and it's 3-0. Not bad on the pitch selection, but execution was lacking just a bit. Machado at second. He's trailed by Adam Jones at first. 2 base hits and a walk in the first 3 that Martin Perez has faced. And the 3-0 is in at the knees. 3-1. Chris, 3rd last year in RBI with 117. 47 home runs. 3-2.
Good fastball, good sinking fastball at 94 miles an hour. That's going to get a lot of outs right there if you box that up and throw it every pitch.
Got him swinging.
With another one.
Pretty much carbon copy of the one before, and the same result from Chris Davis. A swinging strike. That is out number 1.
Not a good comeback. 2 good pitches right there. A little tailing action and a swing and a miss. A lot of the balls that he's throwing, he's again walked 10 guys now in his 3 starts, are pitches that are low, just a little bit out of the strike zone. He's concentrating on keeping the ball down, and a lot of times the walks are pitches that are down and out of the strike zone. So like that, and that's a borderline pitch. That's where he needs to work. So he's just got to figure a way, Buzz, just to get the ball up a few inches, keep it to the bottom of the strike zone, but get a called strike with it.
You know, I think he has to understand too, Tom, that hitters have made adjustments now. They're not going to swing at the ball low out of the strike zone early in the count if they don't have to.
Exactly right. I'm sure that's what the hitters said in their meeting. Now look, he likes to throw sinkers down, make him get it up. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Well, now it's incumbent on Martin Perez, Brian Holiday, Doug Brocail, and everybody to, when they go over the advance, to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this by getting ahead of hitters? And you don't have to get ahead with a true fastball. You saw Martin on the first pitch to Trumbo take something off. And that's not a bad pitch to throw if you're worried about guys jumping on that first pitch fastball.
The good news for Martin, it's not like he has to keep the ball down and out of the strike zone to keep from being hit. That 92 to 93 mile an hour sinker at the knees for a strike is very good. It's going to get a lot of people out.
Close at second base.
That almost got somebody out right there.
Machado kind of stutter step going back, and it almost cost him. Good quick move by Martin Perez. Cutting in behind was Rougned Odor.
Good call by the second base umpire. That's Mike Everett right on top of the play. The hand got there just ahead of the tag.
You get the throw down on a little bit on the bag, and that's an out. But that will cut down on Machado's lead out there at second, which is kind of a byproduct of a good pickoff move. 1 ball and 1 strike now. Trumbo had the opposite field home run last night. It was against Cole Hamels. He crunched one into the Ranger bullpen in right center field. For Trumbo, his 3rd home run of the year. Now has 6 RBI, and he has homered in 3 of his last 4 ball games. Good pitch on the inner part of the plate, tied him up a bit. 2-2.
Oh, had a little cutting action on him.
Sure did.
93 miles an hour.
Trumbo waiting. Machado and Jones away from their bases. Full count. Well, Martin has run the string all the way out to Trumbo. Trumbo hitting 5th in the order. He'll be followed by the shortstop, J.J. Hardy. Baltimore, an early 1-0 lead here in the first. The early hits leaders in the American League. And Trumbo gone on strikes. Back-to-back punch-outs after Martin had run the count full to both Chris Davis and Mark Trumbo.
The nice thing about the last 2 at-bats to strike out to Davis and Trumbo is you've seen 5 swings and misses at low sinkers. Now that one was a little bit out of the strike zone. Trumbo is a guy that hardly ever walks. He's only walked 1 time. He's been up 37 times now. But the pitches before that were strikes that he missed, and with Chris Davis, they were strikes. It wasn't like he swung at pitches out of the strike zone. They were good 93 mile an hour sinkers that he missed. So the swings and misses are nice to see. Should show Martin, make him feel very confident that if he throws strikes and keeps the ball down, he's going to have a lot of success.
And J.J. Hardy, a guy that is a better low ball hitter than a high ball hitter. You want to keep the ball away from him. Nothing wrong with down and away. But you don't want to try and mess around inside to him and get the ball down. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hardy, a .250 average for the year, a couple of home runs, 6 driven in. He's 7 for 28. 4-game hitting streak for the Orioles shortstop, a .313 average. Two and one. Martin Perez now, and he's going to get a visit from Ryan Holiday and Elvis Andrus. The teammates trying to get Martin through this first inning. If they can to limit the damage to 1 run, Martin will have done a very good job.
I guess so. First 3 guys reached, 3 balls, 1 strike count on Chris Davis, the 4th hitter. If he can get out of this with 1, that'll be an excellent job.
2 balls and a strike. Took something off and had Hardy out in front. That's a pitch. If you can throw that to J.J. Hardy, you've got a real good chance of having success against him. At less than 100% fastball. 2-2 now. Got him swinging. How about that? Striking out Davis, Trumbo, and Hardy to limit the damage to 1 run. The Orioles are run on 2 hits. They lead 2 after a half inning. Baltimore 1, Texas coming up. Run. Now the Rangers coming up. Tom's going to tell you about the Southwest Airlines Rangers batting order.
Well, Delano DeShields with his .415 on base percentage will lead off. Nomar Mazara with his .400 average will bat second. Prince Fielder is third. Adrian Beltre is the 4th place hitter. Mitch Moreland is 5th. Ian Desmond gets the start in left field. He'll bat 6th. Rougned Odor is 7th. Elvis Andrus 10th in the league with a .355 average is batting 8th. And the catcher is Brian Holiday.
And the 28-year-old right-hander Vance Worley out there going to work, and first pitch is ball 1. Worley, Rangers have not faced him since the 2013 season when he was with the Minnesota Twins. So the book is a little bit outdated, possibly. Sinker slider kind of action. A basic pitcher. He goes right after hitters. If his command is good, he can be a handful, and if not, hitters can have a pretty good time against him. Perhaps in that curveball, that's a pitch that he doesn't use all that much. But he gets it in for a strike, and it's 1-2. Delino with the average at .294. Got him swinging. Worley making quick work of Delino DeShields. 1 out. Nomar Mazara is next. First of all, take a look at the Orioles defense, brought to you by T-Mobile. Outfield, same as last night. Rickard in left, Jones in center. Reimold is in right. Chris Davis and Jonathan Schoop on the right side. J.J. Hardy and Manny Machado on the left. Caleb Joseph behind the plate this evening. And he is handling Vance Worley. Mazara takes a pitch low. Nomar, another 2-hit game last night. He's now 8 for 20 in his first 5 big league games. Guess you could safely assume that he's not overmatched.
Nope, he does not look overmatched. He looks very confident, calm, using the whole field.
J.J. Hardy for out number 2. Next will be Prince Fielder. Well, if you want to go back to that matchup of 2013, Prince was not with the Rangers at that time. He was with the Tigers, and he ended up going 4 for 9 against Worley with a home run and a double. But again, that's almost ancient history as far as pitcher-hitter matchups. 0-1. Prince trying to work himself out of a little bit of an early hole. He has had good luck, as you can see, against the Baltimore Orioles, reaching safely in all but 2 of the 23 games that he's played against the Birds. A ball and a strike to him. 1-2. And again, the Orioles do not go into an extreme overshift. Although Machado, the third baseman, and J.J. Hardy within handshaking distance of each other on the left side, they are still on their own side of the diamond. Two and two. Worley, the last couple of years, toiling for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Stocky right-hander out of Long Beach State University. And he misses high. The count is full. Well, Prince trying to get aboard with 2 outs here in the first. Adrian Beltre, the Ranger cleanup hitter, is going to be next. Sliced to left field. Rickert in a hurry and makes the catch going toward the line. Well, Prince trying to take it the other way, flies out, and the Rangers go in order after 1 inning of play at Globe Life Park in Arlington. It's the Orioles 1, the Rangers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Now 1-0 Baltimore. We head to the top of the second inning. Martin Perez now working to the bottom third of the Oriole order. And the first pitch is low and inside to Jonathan Schoop. Schoop, the young second baseman. 258 average with a home run and 5 driven in. 2-0.
So we're always talking about baseball as a funny game, Buzz. How about this? Martin Perez in 2 starts, 12 1/3 innings, had 3 strikeouts. In the first inning of this game, he got 3 strikeouts in a row to get out of the inning, mowed right through the middle of the lineup.
See, that's what Doug Brocail went out there.
What's going on?
Brocail went out there.
Go to the strikeout?
Hey, yeah, go to the strikeout. That way you don't have a grounder find a hole for you. Yeah, it is a funny game. You're right.
But, you know, the pitches that he was throwing to Davis, Trumbo, and Hardy, those were pitches that can strike you out. He had good stuff.
Elvis, a jump throw. Is it on the mark? No. Pulls Mitch off the bag. And Schoop is aboard with a single. Now Schoop aboard to start things off, and let's welcome Jim Knox in. Jim.
I appreciate it, Buzz. Look at this. Great night for baseball and a great night for father-sons here at the ballpark. We got a group here. Grant, what's this about?
So we've got a group of dads and sons here from Providence Christian School, and what a great way to spend a Friday night.
All right, nice to have you guys out here. Good-looking bunch of guys, huh? Look at these guys. All right, root the Rangers on. There we go, Buzz.
All right, Knoxy, thank you. Nolan Reimold steps in and takes a knee-high strike. Reimold off to a pretty quick start. He's 5 for 14. 0 for 3 in his previous matchups against Martin Perez. And down on the count very quickly, 0-2. Perez against Baltimore, a 2-1 career record. This is 4th career start. Just missed the outside corner. That call, according to Jordan Baker, the home plate umpire. Our Fox tracker would disagree with you.
Pretty good eye for Reimold taking that 0-2 pitch.
Still 1-2. That might have been a case of I can't hit it, so I'm not going to swing at it.
Schoop would have been a little bit upset if he got thrown out by Elvis on that play after the one that Adrian got him on. I think that was Schoop that hit that ball that Adrian backhanded, fired on one hop over to first base.
Again, the 1-2 pitch. Got him on the fist, could be a double play. Odor turns it, and it is around the horn. The Rangers turn their 18th twin killing of the year. That is the most in baseball, and this one started by the Gold Glove third baseman Adrian Beltre.
That's a real asset to Martin and sinker ball pitchers in general. That when you get in trouble, you can get a ground ball, and this was an easy ground ball. Hit him right off the hands, not hit hard. Only question was it hit hard enough to give them time to turn it. And the way Rubned has been turning him at second base, he did have enough time.
That ball doesn't stay in his glove very long, does it?
Got a good arm, too. Also good for Martin's pitch count. He had a lot of pitches in the first inning. A couple quick outs now in the second inning, but he's at 38 pitches.
Here's the numbers we told you. The leader list of double plays turned to the American League. Rangers 6 more than the second place Tigers. So base is empty for Caleb Joseph. Joseph handling catching chores tonight. Takes strike 1. Matt Wieters, you remember, caught last night. Wieters still trying to work himself back into everyday shape behind the plate. Caleb Joseph, a very capable fill-in for Wieters. Joseph got a lot of time behind the plate last year when Wieters was on and off the disabled list a couple of times. 3 for 10 in the early going for Joseph. 1-2.
The changeups tonight for Martin.
Now that's something we're seeing more of tonight, and I think that was probably the game plan with an aggressive Baltimore club. Martin had kind of gotten away from using that changeup as one of his primary pitches. So after setting his feet, fired to first, and with the help of a double play, it's a 1-2-3 inning. We've gone through an inning and a half at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Orioles 1, Rangers Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Adrian Beltre starting things off against Vance Worley here in the second inning. Adrian takes strike one. Beltre, one of the hottest Rangers at the moment. And he has been smoking it. He's got a 7-game hitting streak. That's the longest by a Ranger this season so far in the early going. It's also the 4th longest active streak in the American League. (0-2). And you might mention, as long as Adrian is down in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. He's gone 28 plate appearances now without punching out. No strikeouts in 28 appearances. That's the 3rd longest active streak in the majors. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And considering some of the pitches we've seen him swing at and make contact lately, you can understand why. Over his head, foot outside.
Yeah, when you see some of the pitches he swung at, that's a pretty good stat right there. 28 plate appearances without a strikeout.
Well, comes to an end right there.
It looks like Worley is tough to pick up. He has that kind of short arm action. The ball is behind his body and then comes right out from behind his head. So as a hitter, you really don't see the ball until it's on its way to the plate.
Let's go check in with Emily Jones real quick.
Guys, thank you very much. Here with new TCU men's basketball coach Jamie Dixon, who threw out the first pitch this evening. First of all, Jamie, welcome back to TCU. Good to be home.
It sure is. It's been a while, but I've been always coming back through the years and alumni events and football games and seeing a lot of friends. So it's been great. It's been great to see the school change over time, and it's unbelievable what's happened to the university.
You have always represented TCU to an extent as a student and as a player. Now being able to represent them here tonight as the head coach, got to be pretty special for you.
Yeah, TCU night, and we had a number of people here. I guess a couple thousand people, TCU people here for tonight's event, and so it's great to be out here. We got a baseball game going. We're playing Oklahoma out at the field at TCU, so a lot of baseball going on.
Yeah, Jim Schlossnagle, a frequent visitor here to Globe Life Park in Arlington. And one more thing, got to ask you about the first pitch. How'd you feel out there?
Well, I felt good going out there, but I thought I was going to have Brian Holiday as my catcher, but he was busy, so Bram threw it high, and I threw it a little bit low. So I guess between the two of us, it was a strike.
Somewhere in the middle.
Mitch Moreland to deep left center field. A 1-1 ball game. My apologies to Emily Jones. I thought she was finished talking to Tim Whitman. I got excited. Pitch going the other way, his first round tripper of the year.
Well, just a matter of time before Mitch gets in a pretty good streak. And when he's hitting the ball that way, that's a sign that he's swinging the bat well. There's a tailing fastball. Look where that ball is. You say, as a pitcher, if I can throw my fastball, make it sink and tail away and barely touch the bottom of the strike zone, I should have some pretty good success. And then you see how strong the hitters are today, and a guy like Mitch takes that pitch and drives it 400 feet the other way. That's just not right.
So we are back to dead even. You know, we talked about Mitch kind of turning the power up at the end of spring training, and he didn't take it into the season with him. I know he was a little bit upset about that, but that's good to see him power one out to the opposite alley.
Yes, sir.
Ian Desmond got his first RBI in a Ranger uniform last night. He had an infield single and got the run home. Just outside. And the count evens now 2-2. Mitch. For the Rangers, the 8th home run of the season. As we mentioned, Mitch's first one. Full count. Desmond batting 6th in the order. Rougned Odor, the Rangers' second baseman, will follow. Payoff pitch. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. Ball 4. No, Ian works a walk. And we talked, Tom, I guess, about guys being able to check their swing, about being able to take close pitches, that they're probably seeing the ball well. And that's good news for Ian. If he's seeing the ball that well, that base hits will start to fall here at Shirley Point.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. When you've got it, it's not like he's getting old. It's not like he's out of shape. It's not like he doesn't work. He's an impeccably finely tuned athlete who has a track record in the big leagues.
Speaking of finely tuned, Rugda tuned that up to go to left field for the base hit.
And so in Ian's case, yeah, it's a slow start, maybe his slowest start. But over 162 games, when things start to even out, he'll have his share of hits. Ahmed fights that fastball off, finds a hole between short and third.
So first and second with one out. Here's Elvis. Andrews coming to the plate, hitting at .355. He's 11 for 31.
Well, when you look at the alignment, the right fielder is very shallow in right field. Adam Jones tends to play shallow in center field. He's really shallow for Elvis, so the ingredients are there for a line drive triple to right center field.
Outside, 2-0. Well, Elvis on a pretty good hot streak of his own. We talked about him in our pregame, and the last 3 ball games he's hit .545 on 6 for 11 and driven in 3, and he scored 3. Got Desmond at second, Odor at first. 2-1. Runners in scoring position this year. Elvis a .500 hitter. Got Desmond out there at second. As ball 3 is blown away. Matter of fact, talking about runners in scoring position, the Rangers, and we talked about this in the open. We need to give you our Ford leaderboard first. Yankees leading in team runners in scoring position average. Rangers third at .302. And you think back a year to 2015, and the Rangers were having a devil of a time in that category, hitting about a .120 as a team. And speaking of Bucks, Buck Showalter not particularly thrilled with what he's seeing from his right-hander Vance Worley right now.
Yeah, that's pretty much for a team that's not scoring runs a pretty common problem. Very seldom do you go an extended period of time without getting any base runners. The problem when you're not scoring runs is generally getting some base runners but not being able to get them in. So that's a huge difference from being below 200 last year to being above 300 this year with men in scoring position. Let's see if Brian can cash in on TCU night at the ballpark.
There you go. That would be appropriate, wouldn't it? Ryan Holiday, of course, the TCU X. 2 out of 15 in the early going. And that is down the right side, but it's going to slice back and out of play. 0-1. Holiday, a couple of RBI. Ryan getting his 5th start behind the dish tonight. Robinson Chirinos, of course, breaking his forearm out in Anaheim last week. Inside and hitting.
Hello.
There's an RBI, and it didn't hurt too much. He's got his jersey top, and that's it. In to score Desmond. The Rangers take the lead at 2-1 with the RBI hit by pitch.
Good inning for the Rangers. A couple of walks. Ian and Elvis both eyeballed them. And now one hits Brian Holiday with the bases loaded. And back to the top of the order. Chance for a big inning. Rangers had a big inning yesterday. 5-run inning.
Yeah.
Like the uniform.
Brian Holiday with his 3rd RBI. The Rangers on top 2-1. Dave Wallace, the pitching coach, out to settle down Vance Worley. Was you can see the steam coming up under his collar. A little warm. The top of the order now once again. Delino DeShields, who struck out to start things off for the Rangers here tonight. Bases full of teammates this time up. Nothing in one. Pretty good slider from Worley. Delino, multiple hits in 3 consecutive ball games. Base hit to center. Odora's home. Here comes Elvis. He's being waved home. The throw is not in time, and it gets away all the way to the back. That will allow Holiday to go to third and to second. Delino DeShields a 2-run single. The Rangers lead it 4-1.
Big hit for Delino. Aggressive play, sending the runner from second base. That was Elvis. Spike sent him. It's a pretty good throw. But the catcher couldn't handle the throw. Tried that slider again. Got him to swing and miss at it. This one came back in the middle of the plate, though. And the difference between a swing and a miss and a rope to center field is the location of the slider. Here comes the throw. It's a pretty good throw, but it kind of skips toward the third base side. Caleb Joseph wasn't able to handle it, and the Rangers are still in business. Second and third and 1 out.
Nomar Mazara going after that first pitch. The foul ball.
Here's Spike on. He's practically home himself, waving him home.
Spike took a look around and said, well, I'm pretty close to home. I could make it. So Elvis has to be able to make it. No, second and third now. 4 runs across for the Rangers here. Another big inning. And fouled away to the left. 0-2. That play for Delino. Sure, a single in an error. High ball to right. Not hit very deep. Holiday tagging. Catch is made. Holiday coming to the plate. And the throw, the slide, he's safe.
He tagged him, but he tagged him behind the plate, right?
Well, he tagged him right on top of the plate, I thought.
Yeah, it looked like he had his glove on the plate and left maybe a couple inches in front of the plate.
Yep, I think you're right. And credit home plate umpire Jordan Baker for being right on top of it. He had a bird's eye view of that whole play.
He tagged him, but the glove was in the middle of the plate, and he missed the front of it. Great job by Jordan Baker. Look at him. He's right on top of this. The foot slides so he can't block the plate, and there's the foot just got there before the tag. Look at the eyes on the umpire. Got a good view at it, and right on top of it. That's some good umpiring right there by Jordan Baker.
Excellent umpiring fundamentals.
Especially since it went the Rangers' way. They're going to look at it, but I'm pretty sure that's going to stand.
Yep.
Not a deep sacrifice fly, but again, an aggressive base running move by the Rangers. Bryan scores, Spike Owen sends him. Pretty good throw, but they didn't quite get him.
Buck Showalter waiting until he gets word from his video replay. And he said, nope, forget it. We'll let that stand. So it's 5-1 Rangers. The RBI on the sac fly by Nomar Mazara.
Second straight night for a 5-run inning.
Last night it was the 6th. Tonight it's the 2nd. Outside corner for a strike. As Prince Fielder took it. On the play also, Delino DeShields advanced to third. Prince a fly ball to left his first time. Straightened up by that comeback fastball, and it's 0-2. There's Delino. A 2-run single. 90 feet away and in position to have Prince drive him home. Now, a couple of walks in the inning, both of them have come in to score. Scope, the second baseman, will take care of that. And that'll do it for the Rangers. 9 men, though, come to the plate. 5 of them score. And as we go to the third inning, Jeff Bannister's ball club leading the Orioles 5-1. Folks, tomorrow will feature a 7:05 game. These Orioles and your Rangers, the first Saturday night game of the home season. The first 15,000 fans, 14 and older, will receive a Texas Rangers pullover jacket, courtesy of Globe Life. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS. And come on out tomorrow night for Game 3 of this series. Well, Martin Perez back to the hill. He has now been granted a 5-1 lead. So things have a little brighter tinge to them than they did after the first inning for Martin. Martin able to go out, though, and have a three-hitter inning last time. Got a leadoff single and then a double play and a grounder, and that really improved things for Martin. You get that 5 spot up on the board by your club, it makes you feel even better. 1-2 pitch to Rickard is a little bit low, I guess.
Looked like it came back. It looked like a slider that almost caught the outside corner. Looked like it could have been called that way.
Joey Rickard had a double his first time up, came around to score. He's now run the count full. Well, Rickard, the #1 hitter in the order. With the full count, Manny Machado in the on-deck circle. Payoff pitch. Little looper to right field, going out Odor. It's off the tip of his glove. Rugdad doing everything he could, going up the ladder, and had about a half rung short.
Yeah, that's where you wish you were Jonathan Scope at second base. The ball looked like it almost settled in his glove, but it just went off the fingers. Great try. Scope's a few inches taller, might have stuck in his glove.
Well, that's about as close as you can come right there without being able to catch it. No, Rickard is second base hit. He is aboard now to start the third inning. Here's Machado, who drew a walk in the first. Could it be another one? Beltre, Odor, back to first.
That's unbelievable.
5-4-3, second twin killing of the night. The 19th by the Rangers this year. Yeah, Martin Perez knows how to serve that up.
We've watched Adrian for a number of years. He just looks like he gets better at third base. He looked like he just turned that as a simple double play. But that ball is a chopper. He's got to charge it. He scoops it on a bad hop, makes a perfect throw to Odor, and they finish off the double. Well, beautiful play by Adrian. That's just not that
easy to do. Nope. He makes it look
Although
easy.
I guess it is for him. Been doing it long enough.
He's done it a couple times before, but that doesn't diminish how tough that really is for mere mortals. No, base is empty, 2 away. Here's Adam Jones taking outside. Jones drove in the Baltimore run back in the first, had a bouncer through the left side for the RBI. 3 runs driven in for the Baltimore center fielder. Jones, an all-star last year, has been for the last 4 years in center field, 5 overall. He was one of the main men to come over from Seattle in the deal several years ago that sent Eric Bedard to the Northwest.
That's a forgettable trade.
Well, it set up the Orioles.
The Seattle people have made that trade are long gone.
Yep. A nice, quick 3-hitter inning again for Martin Perez, involving a double play. Bottom of the third coming up. Rangers 5, Orioles 1. division rival Houston Astros, come to town on Tuesday through Thursday. It's the first 3 games of the Silver Boot Series this year, and it's sponsored by Texas Lottery. Make sure and wear your red out here to Globe Life Park. Red out the ball yard against the Astros. Enjoy a promotion or giveaway each night. Visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS for your tickets. Adrian Beltre lining to right field to start off the third for the Rangers. Adrian 0 for 2. And it'll bring up Mitch Moreland. First time up, Mitch Moreland got the ball game even as he pounded one into the bullpen in left center field. His first home run of the year, and it was an impressive one to say the least. 0-1. Mitch last year 23 home runs, a new career high for himself. 85 RBI. Vance Worley painting both sides of the plate. 0-2. Got him swinging. Mitch, a 3-pitch strikeout, 2 away for Ian Desmond. And before Ian comes up, let's send it over to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. All right, John, thank you. Well, Ian Desmond drew a walk his first time up, came around to score in that big 5-run Rangers second inning. We were marking at that time eyeballing some pretty close pitches, and he's already taken one that was fairly close to the inside corner for a ball. 1-2. Worley back to the plate. That base hit that Ian Desmond had last night, the RBI infield single, snapped an 0 for 16. I think he would tell you the first, maybe 10 of those 0 for at-bats, not real pretty, but he thought he was getting better swings, and I think everybody that watched him felt he was getting better swings. Caught looking at a third strike here, though, as Worley punches out back-to-back Rangers, a 1-2-3 inning. We have finished 3 at Globe Life Park. Rangers are leading the Orioles 5-1. It's MLB on FS1 doubleheader as the Blue Jays take on the Red Sox. Then it's a National League East battle between the Braves and the Marlins that you can only see on FS1. It all starts Saturday at 2:30 on Fox Sports 1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Chris Davis starting things off, and Martin Perez goes to work. Fastball, foul back. It is strike one. Davis, maybe the most important hitter that Martin Perez has faced tonight, in that Davis came up with runners at first and second, nobody out, or run across in the first. Martin fell behind 3 balls and no strikes and came back to strike out Chris Davis.
And huge.
And that turned it around for him, it seemed like, and got him going where he struck out the next 2 hitters also. And since then, it's been good.
Well, you know, everybody talks about how Martin is high-strung, and you mentioned it, Buzz, the need to kind of calm himself down, take a step back. And one thing that seemed to help him in that first inning were a couple of trips to the mound, one by Doug Brocail and another one by Elvis and maybe Beltre.
Yep.
So maybe the talks with his teammates and his pitching coach did help calm him down. And probably the strikeout of Davis gave him a lot of confidence to finish off that inning.
Call, strike 3.
He's been pretty good since that hit by Adam Jones.
He locked up Chris Davis like a felon, and that's out number 1. 4th strikeout for Martin Perez.
That's a pretty good pitch.
He'd make a pretty good living and make that pitch at that spot all the time.
You know, I would have thought the same thing until I saw Mitch hit
Well,
that
that's
pitch from Morley 400 feet to left field. I don't remember guys hitting that pitch, left-hand hitters, in the old days. Do you?
No, I think you're right now.
Only well, I guess there's a few guys. Reggie might have been able to hit one like that. I can't think of too many others.
Well, if many had, they would have asked him for a drug test right away just to make sure.
These guys are just bigger and stronger nowadays. Simple as that.
And learning to hit differently coming up, too, I think, don't they?
I think so, yeah.
Cover the plate better and have that power to both alleys.
Yeah.
Here's Mark Trumbo, has pretty good power to either alley. And Martin Perez on a pretty good roll right now. He has gotten the command of the strike zone back in his favor. Trumbo, the second of those 3 consecutive strikeouts that we spoke of back in the first inning. Two balls, 2 strikes. That's the first time since the first inning I've seen Martin, any kind of body language that would suggest a little frustration. Hopefully he can overcome that real quick and come back and get Trumbo. A weak ground ball out to short. Nice job by Martin Perez, and settled himself right back down and went after Trumbo, made a good pitch and got the second out.
Yeah, the other thing about the ground balls that he's getting, and including the one that Adam Jones hit for a base hit, they've not been hit very hard. Most of those are hitting the bad part of the bat, and they're just softly hit little dribblers.
No, you mentioned the statistical rank for Martin Perez in ground balls, 3rd in the American League last year. He's doing that same thing again here tonight. It's either a strikeout or a ground out.
Yeah.
He does not have a ball in the air for an out.
In the open before the game, we mentioned 59.9% ground ball rate last year. The best in the league last year was Dallas Keuchel, and he was a little over 62%. So Martin is right up there with the best ground ball pitchers in the American League.
And J.J. Hardy taking a strike. That evens things up at 1-1. Hardy was the last of those 3 straight strikeouts back in the first inning. That changeup that just floated a little bit low. 2-1 to J.J. Hardy.
The only hard hit ball was the one that Rickard hit to lead off the game. Went down and poked a line shot into left center field.
3 balls and a strike. Well, if Hardy is able to extend this 4th inning, Jonathan Schoop, the second baseman, is next. And a strike at the knees. Come on back, JJ. Full count.
A pitcher like Martin puts a lot of pressure on the umpire. Today, Jordan Baker, every pitch is a little bit low, just barely a strike. They're all right around the bottom of the strike zone. That's a good test for an umpire.
Payoff pitch, got him looking. And J.J. Hardy a little disgusted, but that's 2 strikeouts in the inning, 5 on the evening for Martin Perez. 3.5 in the books, Rangers leading by 4.
Of the 4th, it is TCU night here at Globe Life, and we have a couple of TCU quarterbacks, actually former TCU quarterback Trayvon Boykin and Bram Kohlhausen as well. And Trayvon, we want to talk to you first because it's a big month for you, as at the end of the month, the NFL draft coming up. What you been doing?
Pretty much working out every day. Just trying to move on to the next level. Great career at TCU. We did a lot of great things. Ended the season right, so it was a positive for me. Just being able to get invited to the Combine, being able to do pro day at TCU. So right now I'm just, like I said, I've been working out every day at quarterback, receiver, doing a little bit of everything. Just trying to get my foot in the door to move on to the next level.
And speaking of doing a little bit of everything, your teammate over here, Bram, threw out the first pitch, and I know you threw out one before. I need you to compare the two of you.
You know, nothing compares to last year. You know? nothing compares to last year. But nah, like I said, I mean, he's a great dude. I mean, we've been friends since he stepped on campus, and he's probably been one of the best people to me that I can. I really appreciate everything he does, and he's a genuine person. And I mean, everything he deserves, he gets.
And he was a little high, though, you think?
He was a little high, but.
Bram, would you admit you were a little high?
Yeah, I threw it a little bit higher than Trey, but
whoa.
I had a little bit more velocity.
Coach Sloss made mine look 10 times better than what he did today, so shout out to him too.
All right, guys, we appreciate it. Thanks so much, Bram and Trayvon. Guys, we'll send it back up to you.
All right, Anthony, thank you. That's great. You're getting 2 quarterbacks talking about how they threw out the first pitch.
Yeah, evidently they're best friends, and what a way for one to pick up the other, the way that Bram played in that final game. That was just a spectacular win for TCU. Was.
You know, Elvis again on base. He had a walk his first time and now singles to right field with 1 out. And here's Brian Holiday. Holiday had an RBI when he was hit by a pitch with the bases full. Drove in his 3rd run of the year as a Ranger. Pretty good slider by Worley. 0-1. Rangers 4 hits. The Orioles with 4 hits, but the Rangers put 3 hits and a couple of walks together in that 5-run second inning. That is the difference in the ball game. Brian Holiday with, again, a crash course on getting to know all the Ranger pitchers, starters and relievers. Said he's been spending more time in the video room than in the batting cage. And he needs to see everybody and see what they like to do and what they look like when they're throwing well. Two and one the count. Let's see if Elvis might not be on the move here. Nope, he's staying put. And the pitch is low, 3-1. Bill Holiday with the advantage in the count. Elvis at first with one out. Delino to Shields, waiting in the on-deck circle. There goes Elvis. 3-1 pitch is chopped foul. Well, the Rangers putting up 5 in the second inning tonight. We mentioned 5 in the 6th inning last night. Tonight, the third time this year they've scored as many as 5 in an inning. That's their high water mark. Compare that to last year when they didn't get off to the best offensive start at all. They only had 1 such inning in the first 41 games. Elvis on the move again. The throw to second is high. And Elvis is going to be at second, but they're going to call Brian Holiday for going across home plate. And that's going to send Elvis back to first base. No, he's going to be out. Take it back. On the strikeout, if there's interference, the runner on the move, he is out. So it turns into a double play, in essence, with Holiday getting called for interference and Elvis getting called out on the same play. No runs a hit, nobody left. We'll go to the 5th inning here in Arlington. It's the Rangers 5 and the Orioles 1.
Right, Bark, Buzz, and Tom on the Fox Sports Fan Express tonight. We have the Gary Patterson Foundation. Yes, TCU 9, the Gary Patterson Foundation. A lot of kids from George Clark Elementary. David, what's this all about?
Yeah, Gary and Kelsey are all about identifying potential and creating all-stars, and that's what they've done at our elementary school. They've not only told our elementary kids that they can go to college, they're telling them to save now. So all of these students have deposited money in their college savings accounts every 2 weeks for the past year.
Awesome. Okay, where are you going to go to school?
TCU.
Okay, all right, of course TCU. All right, appreciate it, David. You guys enjoy the rest of the game. Thanks.
Nice going, Doxy. Good group out there. Martin Perez got it going on now. He is ahead in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jonathan Schoop. Perez with 5 strikeouts. Struck out 2 of the 3 in the 4th inning. Looks like Martin now is getting work on both sides of the plate. After he got through that first inning, it's been steady improvement. Command is coming. You know what they say, good pitchers, if you don't get them early when they leave an opening for you, you're probably not going to get them. And, for Martin, trying to prove the Orioles right in that regard here tonight. 28 pitches in the first inning since then. A grand total of 44 pitches. Got him swinging. Change up going down and away. I guess that was the tailing fastball.
Yeah, it looked like the way he swung at it, it looked like a changeup. That's just the kind of movement he's got on his fastball. That thing just tailed right away from him. You can tell by the swings they're taking tonight that the stuff he's got is a notch above what he had in his first 2 starts. Not that that was bad. He only gave up 9 hits in 12 innings.
Buck Showalter out to talk to the home plate umpire Jordan Baker, and Baker now is going to talk with the crew chief Mike Everett at second base and see what they've got going. Buck brought something up to him. I'm not sure what it was, to be quite honest. And Mike Everett explaining to Buck, giving him an answer to whatever question that Buck raised. And now Jeff Bannister is going to go get the lowdown from Jordan Baker, the home plate umpire.
Now getting back to Martin Perez, the first 2 starts, he had good stuff. His opponent's batting average after 2 starts was .225, but he wasn't getting the kind of swings and misses that he's getting tonight. And it's not just the changeup that's fooling the hitters, it's the fastball that he's had a lot of swings and misses at tonight. Well, we don't, at least I don't know what that was about.
No, I don't either. Nolan Reimold, and a swinging strike one. Our Kubota power stats. We're talking about Martin Perez this evening. Out distribution tonight, 7 ground outs and 6 strikeouts. Not a ball in the air for an out. Kubota bringing you those power stats, and it has been power, a power sinker that Martin has going. Blowing in 2 balls and a strike to Nolan Reimold, who grounded into a double play his first time. Looping drive to right, that's going to settle in for a base hit. It over shaded up the middle for Reimold, and right off the end of the bat, it found a hole.
Yeah, that's the kind of swing and a result that you expect to see on a changeup, being way out in front of it and cueing it right off the end of the bat. But that was a 92-mile-an-hour fastball that caused that kind of a swing.
Fans, a quick reminder for you: the first 7,500 kids 13 and under at Globe Life Park this Sunday will be treated to a pair of Delino DeShields socks. That's courtesy of Powerade Zero. Bring the whole family on out. Watch the Rangers take on the Orioles in the first Sunday matchup of this season. Visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS to get your seats. A 1 on, 1 out. That's the 5th hit of the night for the Baltimore Orioles. Caleb Joseph, a ground ball to Adrian Beltre his first time. We'll see if Martin Perez can't make it a trio of 2 balls here this evening. One ball and 2 strikes. Rangers turn to double play in the second inning after a leadoff single. Same thing happened in the 3rd. Here the Orioles had a 1-out single, and Martin Perez working with Caleb Joseph. Elvis and Rugnet up the middle, a couple of steps to the left, but add double play depth. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Perez now, as you can see, at the 81 pitch mark. 45 strikes, 36 balls for the left-hander. If Elvis can get to it, it's going to be a third double play. 6-4-3. The third one tonight behind Martin Perez. They have it going here defensively tonight. We have played half the ball game after this, Quinn Killing. It's the Rangers 5, the Orioles 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Top of the order for the Rangers here in the bottom of the fifth inning. And Delino DeShields takes a slow breaking ball for strike one. Delino has had a 2-run single and a strikeout, 1 out of 2 tonight. Got the same pitch and swung over the top of it. 0-2. Well, Worley, you say he's either been very good or he has struggled. 3 innings, he's faced only 3 hitters in each of the innings. The other inning, well, the Rangers set 9 to the plate, scoring 5 of them. Kind of start that'll make you scratch your head. Maybe smack yourself upside the head a couple times too. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Delino, we talked about, even when he was getting off to a slow start as far as getting base hits, still getting on base. On base percentage, .415 coming into play tonight. 6 walks to his credit. Also was hit by a pitch. So at the top of the order, the guy that the Rangers rely on to ignite that offense has been getting it done. Got him swinging. Good slider by Worley. That is strikeout number 6. 1 away. And Nomar Mazara coming up. And before we see Mazara, let's send it over to John Radigan once again for a Chevy game break. All right, John, thank you. Nomar Mazara, a sacrifice fly his last time up, driving in his 4th run as a big leaguer. 1 ball and 1 strike. .381 average for the young man. 2-1. Mazara has been on base somehow in each of his first 5 ball games. Joey Rickard, the left fielder, makes the catch. That is out number 2. Folks, next Thursday's pin is a tribute to the Rangers' first American League West Division title. That was back in 1996. Be one of the first 10,000 fans in the park next Thursday to watch the Rangers take on the Astros and pick up this special collectible. Tickets are available at TexasRangers.com. This fielder lines one to right, coming on Reimold to make the catch shoulder high, and that'll do it. A 1-2-3 frame. After 5 completed still, the Rangers 5, the Orioles 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. Tonight's delivery of the game brought to you by Jimmy John's. First inning, Martin Perez delivering some strikes after he fell behind 1-0 very quickly. Back-to-back-to-back strikeouts, and then a trio of double plays. Beltre starts the first one and the second. Then it's Elvis and Odor for the third. All right, Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Martin Perez getting it done tonight.
But all 3 of those balls were softly hit dribblers. The only question was whether they're going to have time to turn a double play.
Yeah, almost too softly on the second one to Beltre.
Well, it's 5 innings, and again, the only hard hit ball was Rickard's line drive double in the first inning, leading off the ball game. Since then, this has been domination by Martin Perez. 6 strikeouts tonight. He only had 3 in 2 games coming into this game. Yeah, a terrific fastball tonight. Great movement on it. A lot of swings and misses at his fastball. And really thrown a breaking pitch for a strike tonight very often, but he's had a good changeup.
Yep. 1-2 to Rickard. To right field.
We've got a fly ball.
Yeah, Mazara is going back. That's the first out in the air of the ball game. And it's kind of a lazy fly ball, which is nice. 1 gone.
Third baseman Manny Machado.
Going to bring up Manny Machado. Well, Perez, considering a 28-pitch first inning, he's at 86 now. That's pretty good work.
Settled down nicely.
Pretty good work.
Double plays will help you do that.
Yep. Matter of fact, he hasn't faced any more than 3 batters in any inning since the first. Manny Machado grounded into one of those 3 double plays. Also walked tonight. And let's check in with Emily Jones.
Well, guys, I talked to Jeff Bannister today about Martin Perez and how he's putting a lot of emphasis on this season. The expectations of himself are very high, as are those of the organization. And he said the biggest thing for Martin is to learn to settle things down and to slow things down within the game, which is a lot easier said than done, as you guys well know who have played it. It's easy to talk about that, but when you're out there and you're wanting to perform so well, that's one of the biggest challenges that Martin is facing, is just calming himself down when things don't go so well. And it looks like we're seeing that here tonight.
Yeah, Em, you're exactly right. It's been nice, and Tom brought up the idea that a couple of visits in the first inning, one by Doug Brocail, the other by Elvis Andrus and Adrian Beltre and Brian Holiday, seemed to help Martin Perez kind of manage that anxiety in the early part of the game. And that's what you have to realize, I think, as a pitcher. You're not out there by yourself. Even though you're the only one on top of the hill, you've got a bunch of guys that are out there to help you if you let them.
Well, he's definitely letting them help him tonight, boy. They're making all the plays behind him. Balls haven't been hit hard, but Adrian's had a couple of chances that were tricky because of the hops. This one's a little bit tricky because of the length of the throw. But only tricky to our eyes, not to him when he catches the ball. Playing some superb defense early in the season.
And not coincidentally, the Rangers playing some very good defense all around. And I think when Adrian sets the tone, everybody else seems to follow. Yep. Adam Jones 1 for 2 tonight. Drove in the only Baltimore run back in the first inning. Grounded out in the third. Down and in, and Jones not able to make contact. Now that looked like a breaking ball.
Yeah, it looked like a hard slider. Yeah. Everything he's throwing is moving. And it's led to a lot of swings and misses tonight.
Odor stumbling after it. Makes the play, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. Well, the first fly ball, it did not signal any problems at all. A couple of ground balls followed. We played 5.5. Rangers leading the Orioles by 4. It's time now for the Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $800 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Chris Carhew from Frisco will win $800. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam, Chris, you're going to take home $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Beltre, Moreland, and Desmond to face Vance Worley here in our Sonic Slam Inning. Rangers on top 5-1. Adrian Beltre 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout and a fly ball to right. Orioles have hit the Rangers 5-4 this evening. The Rangers made the most out of their hits in that 5-run second. Adrian going out of the batter's box and pretending like he was going to take a hack at it. Our TXU Energy power player to watch, Adrian Beltre. How about the numbers since 2011, since he joined the Rangers? He's battered Baltimore to a .381 average. That's the third highest average in the major leagues since that time. Machado takes care of his counterpart, one gone.
First baseman, Mitch Moreland.
Oh, Adrian Beltre. 0 for 3 so far. Back to the Ranger dugout, and it brings up Mitch Moreland. Mitch launches his first home run of the year into the Baltimore bullpen back in the second inning. Got that big 5-run outburst started.
Kind of opened up the floodgates. The next 5 guys reach base. A couple of walks, a couple of singles, and a hit by pitch.
That's almost a carbon copy of the 5-run inning the Rangers had last night, where with 1 out, all the damage was done. Yeah, they had 6 or 5 straight reached in. Pretty good formula. You want to do that every once a game or so, just to keep yourself in practice. 2-0 the count to Mitch. Two and 1. Our AT&T high-speed internet replay, and here's Mitch the first time up. Not a terrible pitch from Worley. He's probably surprised that ball traveled in excess of 400 feet to left center field.
Hey, he just hit that ball like it was right down the middle of the plate.
This one's sharply hit. J.J. Hardy, first base side of second, takes care of it. Shortstop for first. 2 gone for Ian Desmond. Nice crowd on hand this Friday night. Fireworks after the ball game. The first fireworks of the 2016 season. Also TCU night. A lot of horn frog purple in the seats. 1 ball, no strikes. Desmond has walked and scored and been called out on strikes. 0 for 1 officially. Two and 0. Three balls, no strikes. So Ian trying to get aboard with 2 outs, trying to extend the inning. Let Rougned Odor have a shot at Vance Worley. That ball's rifled, but Machado's there. Across the diamond. What a play by Machado. Side retired in order. Rangers gone. We finished 6th. It remains the Rangers 5 and the Orioles 1. Tonight's four-game summary. And Mitch Moreland got it started for the Rangers. His first home run of the year. A long blast into the bullpen. And the Rangers didn't stop there in the second inning. Delino DeShields, a two-run single. And that put the finishing touches on a five-run inning. Martin Perez, after a rocky first, settled down very nicely. He has been pounding both sides of the strike zone, and as the game has gone on, Martin has gotten better. It's like you want to see your 25-year-old left-hander go to work. He is going to work in the seventh inning here, and dealing to Chris Davis for the third time.
You know, Buzz, after the first three hitters of the first inning, he's looked a lot like the Martin Perez of a couple of years ago, who threw those back-to-back shutouts in April.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that he had before he hurt. That was right before he hurt his arm and had the Tommy John surgery. And he's 2 years removed from that now. And he expects to be good. He says it's his time. He feels great. Now he needs to go out and do it.
High and outside, he's fallen behind Chris Davis, 3 balls and no strikes.
He had 102 pitches in his last start against the Angels. He's zeroing in on 100. This will be 98.
And he loses Davis. That's the first walk since the first inning. Davis aboard. Mark Trumbo coming up now. And I guess if you're Jeff Bannister and Doug Brocail, you have to ask yourself, how long do we want to push it with Martin Perez? That 4-pitch walk to start an inning, probably an indicator that you better keep an eye out on him.
Daniel Helpson is ready. 3 times today. Martinez got that soft grounder and turned it into a double play. Can he do it 4 times?
And Trumbo takes ball 1. Last time up, Trumbo grounded out to shortstop. You do the same thing here, you'll probably get the 2 ball. Check swing, and it's ball 2. 6 consecutive pitches now out of the strike zone. Trumbo, along with the ground ball, has also struck out tonight. There's a strike. Trumbo last year with both the Diamondbacks and the Seattle Mariners. Came over from Seattle this past offseason. That ball is crushed to center field. Delino going back. He pulls up. That ball is up on Greens Hill. A 2-run home run for Trumbo. It's now a 5-3 Ranger lead.
Well, Trumbo's been hot, and he has power. We saw him hit one into the Ranger bullpen last night. And against the guy that doesn't give up many home runs, he hit a line shot halfway up the hill in center field.
Yeah, Jeff Bannister with a slow walk out to the mound, and that probably is going to do it for Martin Perez. The pitch down on the inner part of the plate, and Trumbo got good extension, and that was a low drive that got out of here in a hurry. And Martin Perez not very pleased with that. Martin, though, finished after 6 innings plus 2 hitters here in the 7th. Tom Wilhelmsen coming in. We'll take a timeout. We're back to Globe Life Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. April 15th, the day that Major League Baseball and all the fans honor the memory of Jackie Robinson, the day that 69 years ago, the man made his Major League debut, breaking the color barrier. And baseball, starting in 1997, has honored that memory every year. Everyone wearing the number 42 on their backs. Every team in Major League Baseball honoring the memory of Jackie Robinson by doing so. Tom Wilhelmsen, who pitched last night, came in and worked a one-hitter, got 2 outs, a double play grounder from Jonathan Schoop. Enters the ball game now with the Rangers leading 5-3, and facing J.J. Hardy. Hardy struck out both times, and he faced Martin Perez this evening. Perez struck out 6 in his 6 innings of work. Beltre can't get it. It's by the dive and into left field for a base hit. Give some time here to take a look at our Coors Timeless Moment. Ken Griffey Jr., first player to change his uniform number to 42 on Jackie Robinson Day to celebrate the 50th anniversary at that time of Robinson breaking the color barrier, and very quickly picked up steam to where everybody said, yep, that is a worthwhile endeavor for us to all do. And baseball since that day has honored the memory of Jackie Robinson. That day 69 years ago changed baseball forever, and changed it for the better. Jonathan Schoop with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Schoop has had an infield single and struck out tonight. Hardy at first, nobody out here in the top of the 7th inning. One and 2. Tom Wilhelmsen, the 32-year-old from Tucson, Arizona. Came over to trade with the Mariners. Wilhelmsen and James Jones coming over to the Rangers. Martin Perez going to Seattle. I should say, Leonis Martin. Down the line and deep in left field. That ball's gone, and we have a brand new ball game. Schoop got a pitch down out over the plate and rode it on out of here. And just like that, the Baltimore Orioles have tied it at 5.
A couple of 2-run homers. Trumbo hit a pitch in the middle of the plate. Schoop looked like a breaking ball down, and he golfed it right down the line. No doubt about that one. Schoop's got some power. He's hit 15 or 16 home runs a couple of times. And if he stays healthy and plays 140 games, he'll hit 20 home runs. A breaking ball down, stayed on the inner part of the plate instead of being away. Like the ball Adrian hit in Seattle. Golfed it right down the line, but he hit that ball hard.
So a brand new ball game now. 5 runs on 8 hits for the Orioles, 5 runs on 4 hits for the Rangers. And there's a drive off the bat of Nolan Reimold to deep left field. That is gone. Back-to-back home runs for the Orioles, 3 in the inning, and they take a 6-5 lead.
We talked about the Orioles yesterday. No team in the American League has won more games than the Orioles over the last 4 years, and no team has hit more home runs. Well, if you wanted to make a bet on a team to hit the most home runs in the American League this year, probably be the Orioles.
The Orioles now with 3 in the inning, 3 tonight, 18 for the year.
Fastball inside part of the plate, turned on it.
Well, Reimold with his 2nd home run of 2016. Gives the Orioles a lead, and Doug Brocail out there taking up the full 30 seconds to talk to Tom Wilhelmsen.
That's one thing about the Orioles, hitting the home runs the way they do. You never feel really safe with a lead, just because there's so many guys in the lineup from the top to the bottom that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. I'm seeing that today.
Yep.
The seventh hitter and the eighth hitter showing their power to left field. They weren't pitches hanging or right down the middle of the plate. One was inside, belt high. The other was down and in. They both got the right part of the bat on it. Rode him out of here with authority.
Caleb Joseph at the plate now, the number 9 hitter. 1-1 the count. They're your home run leaders in the American League. Baltimore now 3 more than Houston. Seattle with 14, Detroit with 13. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Andrew Faulkner, left-hander, loosening in that Ranger pen. Still a ball and 2 strikes. The inning started with a walk to Chris Davis. And Mark Trumbo hit a rope that got out of here to dead center field. That was the end of the night for Martin Perez. Tom Wilhelmsen came in. J.J. Hardy had a single to left field. Jonathan Scope got a breaking ball that stayed in the inner part of the plate and down, and he hit it out of the ballpark. That was followed by Nolan Weimold's home run to left field. Center field. And Delino DeShields has a bead drawn on this one. 1 gone. Back to the top of the order. Joey Rickard to face Wilhelmsen. Tom coming in the ball game last night to get those 2 outs, and then the Rangers put that 5 spot on the board, so Wilhelmsen got the win last night. That one fouled out of play by Rickard. 0-1. Rickard became the first Oriole to begin his career by getting hits in his first 7 ball games. Guy who basically came out of nowhere. The Rule 5 draft that we mentioned. Went to spring training with Baltimore, trying to fight his way onto the roster. Shallow right, Mazzara. Those long strides coming in, and Nomar makes the catch for out number 2. Manny Machado coming up with the bases empty. Machado 0 for 2 with a walk. Average at an even 400. Right center field. That is up the alley and deep. That ball is off the top of the wall. Machado into second with a booming double to the deepest part of the ballpark.
Not many right-hand hitters can hit the ball harder to right field than Manny Machado. Fortunately, that ball stayed in the ballpark, hit within a couple of feet on the top of the wall.
So the reaction from Tom Wilhelmsen, he had a pretty good idea where that was going.
I knew it was going to be a double, hoping it wouldn't be a home run. Less than a foot from the top of the wall.
Well, the 4th extra base hit of the inning. And here's Adam Jones, a big swing and a miss. Jones tonight has a single in 3 trips. Machado getting his lead from second. And Jones into center field. That's a base hit. Machado being waved around. Delino's throw is cut off. Machado sliding in safely. Adam Jones with the RBI single. It is 7-5 Baltimore.
Well, they have hit some ropes in this inning. 3 home runs and the double and the single by Adam Jones were hit just as hard as the home runs.
So Jeff Bannister out, and will take the ball from Tom Wilhelmsen. Wants Andrew Faulkner, the left-hander, to come in to face Chris Davis. Well, the Orioles have put 6 on the board. The 7th has still not come to an end. We'll take a timeout. We're back after this on Fox Sports Southwest. The Orioles have broken through for 6 runs, and Andrew Faulkner is going to try to put an end to that as he faces Chris Davis with Andrew Jones at first. Davis tonight has walked and twice struck out. And Faulkner's first pitch is fouled back. Andrew, the 23-year-old from South Carolina. Rangers' 14th round pick back in 2011. One ball, one strike. Faulkner signed out of high school. He had committed to play baseball at South Carolina. But then the offer by the Rangers lured him away from a college career. A breaking ball to the outside corner. 1-2. Chris Davis with 4 home runs, 9 driven in. Rangers in an extreme overshift with the big left-handed hitter up there. Full count now. Good look at the Ranger defensive alignment with Rougned Odor playing the rover position out there. Davis, the number 4 hitter, trying to extend this 7th inning. Mark Trumbo, who's already homered in this inning, is in the on-deck circle. Outside, ball 4, and Trumbo will get a chance to hit again.
Well, Chris Davis has had 2 strikeouts his first 2 times up, and now 2 walks in the 7th inning. First one hurt. That was a leadoff walk this inning, and that kind of set the stage for this huge inning.
And for Chris Davis now, he has drawn 10 walks already, and this is just the Orioles' 10th game. 2 on with 2 out. Trumbo, as we mentioned, that big 2-run home run up on Greens Hill in center field. That was off the Rangers starter, Martin Perez. So Trumbo now 4 home runs. He and Chris Davis lead the Orioles in that category. 8 RBI. Good fastball to the inner part. Hit well to left center field. That is deep. Pulling up is Desmond. That ball is gone. Trumbo's second home run of the inning. A 3-run blast. It is 10-5 Baltimore.
We'll talk about Trumbo. Trumbo's a guy that you hope you catch him when he's cold. You can get him to fish for pitches out of the strike zone, and he struggles. But when you get him when he's hot, this is what can happen. Knocked in 5 runs in the 7th inning. Line shot to center. This shows the power. Inside, low and inside, and a line shot into the bullpen. The kid is strong.
Yes, he is. Now, Trumbo now with 5 home runs. He has 11 RBI, having 5 RBI in this inning. And the pitch to J.J. Hardy in at the belt. Well, the Orioles have scored 9 here in the 7th inning. They have a 10-5 lead over the Rangers. A ball and 2 strikes to Hardy. J.J. Hardy a single and a couple of strikeouts.
The Orioles came in tied for the league lead in home runs with 15. I'm imagining they're probably going to take the lead after this inning.
Yeah, I could think so.
4 home runs in the 7th inning.
Martin Perez, the line for the Rangers starter, 6+ innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Tom Wilhelmsen, 2/3 of an inning tonight, 5 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, no walks, no strikeouts. Andrew Faulkner trying to put a cap on this frame. Payoff pitch. Beltre snares it. Picking it clean out of the night air. And that is the end of a 9-run uprising by Baltimore. We're going to take the stretch here at Globe Life Park with the Orioles now leading 10-5. And join in.
God bless America.
3-game series against the Angels. And the first 7,500 kids 13 and younger will receive a Prince Fielder wiffle ball and bat set. That's courtesy of McDonald's. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS. Well, we go to the 7th inning, and Darren O'Day, former Ranger, has come out of the Baltimore bullpen to take over for Vance Worley. O'Day, the 33-year-old, really has become a fixture in the Oriole bullpen over the last several years. He has done a great job for Coach Showalter's club. Rougned Odor leading off. O'Day has been with the Orioles since 2012. In for a strike, 1-2 to Rougned.
Darren was a terrific reliever for the Rangers. He's been even better for the Orioles. He's put up some numbers that rival almost any reliever in the American League.
Odor 1 for 2 tonight. A single back in the 2nd inning. Now O'Day, either 68 or 69 appearances in each of the last 4 years for Baltimore. And 69 back in 2012, and then 68 exactly each of the last 3 years. Two and two.
He likes to get his strikeouts just like that. Get ahead in the count. Maybe throw a couple of soft sliders and then try to throw that high fastball, shoulder high. And he gets a lot of swings and misses at that pitch.
And Foxtratter showing you that working his way up that ladder a bit. Popped up left side of the diamond. One gone. And before Elvis Andrus comes up, let's send it over to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. Night for home runs, I guess, no matter where you are. Here's Elvis, who is a perfect night going. He is 1 for 1, a single. Also walked and scored a run tonight.
The highest ERA O'Day has had for the Orioles was his first year with the Orioles was .228. The last 2 years, his ERA for 2 years has been about 1.6. Man.
It's dropped every year that he's been in Baltimore.
Yeah, it was 152 last year. Career-wise, he's 31 and 13 with a .231 ERA. Pretty dominating for a guy that's not a 98-mile-an-hour fastball guy or with an unhittable off-speed pitch. He just mixes them up and has the deception of his delivery.
J.J. Hardy picks Elvis clean. 2 gone. Yeah, that's pretty dominating for a guy that couldn't even make the University of Florida baseball team. Darren O'Day, to say that he's turned in a pretty good career is an understatement. Remember, he came to the Rangers in 2009, about midway through the year. 2010, he had 72 appearances with Texas. Here's Brian Holiday.
He joined the team in Toronto one day, came in for relief. Ron Washington brought him into the ballgame, went out and said, "Hey, I'm Ron Washington. Nice to meet you."
He got in from New York after the start of the game.
After the game started.
Yeah. Breaking ball hangs inside. Yeah, they didn't have his jersey made up for him yet.
Yeah.
One ball, one strike. Holiday tonight was hit by a pitch with the bases full, so he got the RBI there. And the other time up, he struck out. Down on the count here at 1-2. O'Day picks out a sign that he wants. And Brian Holiday shoots one over the leap of Manny Machado. Holiday going for two, and now he puts the brakes on. Joey Rickert got to that ball pretty quickly, and even though he had to turn around because of a left-handed thrower, got the ball in quickly, and trailing by 5, you're not going to take an unnecessary chance.
With a little help from John Blake, Buzz, I've got the name of that uniform that he wore. I never would have remembered this. Kason Gabbert.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. We knew he wore someone's jersey, but I wouldn't have remembered that one. Thank you for that, John. And a good look at what Brian Holiday saw and where the ball went. Hit that ball hard.
The Rangers now with 5 base hits this evening. Back to the top of the order. Delino to Shields is 1 for 3. 0-1. Delino, a 2-run single back in the second. 2 strikeouts to go along with that base hit. Oh, 2 now. O'Day with that high set and misses outside. You were talking about Darren O'Day not making the college team. For all you college baseball fans, he did eventually make the college team, but not until he had changed his delivery to what you see now. He became their closer and made it to the World Series, College World Series with the Gators.
A good lesson for every college pitcher that's having a hard time making it with traditional stuff. You might as well give it a shot.
Yep. Delino to Shields left standing at home plate with the punch out. Rangers no runs a hit, 1 left. We're going to the 8th inning, 10-5 Baltimore.
Welcome back to Globe Life Park. Buzz and time for the Progressive Fan of the Day. You know, it's TCU night here at Globe Life Park. University Days continues, so why not give it to this guy? Yeah. Frog Daddy's in the house. It's a long-time tradition right here at this outfit, right, Frog Daddy?
8 years, man, just showing TCU spirit, just everything about TCU spirit. Here tonight to show the love for the Rangers and our new holiday catcher from TCU. He's here. Just showing the love for the Rangers. We're going to come back. I know it. Let's go, Rangers.
All right, congratulations. Here's the bag. Congratulations, Frog Daddy. Good to see you. Never right there. Frog Daddy. All right, Buzz.
Hey, Doxy. Andrew Faulkner out to start the 8th inning, working to Jonathan Schoop. It'll be the bottom third of the Baltimore order to face the Ranger left-hander. Schoop hit a 2-run home run off of Tom Wilhelmsen back in the 7th inning. He is 2 for 3 tonight, also had a single. And Schoop now with 2 home runs and 7 RBI this year. Again, good production for middle infielder that puts up numbers like that. The Orioles have J.J. Hardy and Jonathan Schoop up the middle, and they're going to put some home run totals up between the two of them.
Well, Hardy, we mentioned it last night, had 3 years where he averaged 25 home runs a year. Last couple of years, he's only hit 17 total, but he's had some injuries. If he's healthy, he's a pretty good bet to hit 20. Schoop's developing, and he should be able to hit 20. They're not even the guys you think about when you think about home run hitters on the Orioles. Last year, Machado hit 35. Chris Davis hit 47. And Jones hit almost 30. They've got some guys that can launch it.
So Hanser Alberto has entered the ball game to take over at shortstop. So Elvis the rest of the night off. There's Hanser. A ball and 2 strikes. That evens up now. Schoop with the average at 294 as he bats here in the 8th inning. That ball is launched to left field. Looking up as Desmond Schoop has gone deep again. That's way out of here off the facing of the Jack Daniels club. Schoop's 2nd home run of the night. It is 11-5 Baltimore.
Yeah, if you think it's a reach that Schoop might hit 20, check those last 2 balls he hit out. That ball almost hit the facing of the restaurant out in left field.
Five home runs in the last inning and a hitter.
20 may be selling him short, but he hit that ball.
Oh, Nolan Reimold now, who also homered last inning.
Back row, over the back row.
And you got Trumbo, the number 5 hitter, with a pair of home runs tonight. Schoop with a pair of home runs, the number 7 hitter. The number 8 hitter, Nolan Reimold, with a home run. And a little pop-up. Is it high enough, though, for Mitch to get over it? He does, right in front of the Ranger dugout. That's out number 1. And here comes the number 9 man, Caleb Joseph. Joseph, a couple of ground outs, a fly ball to center.
Well, you talk about a game turning around. Martin went out there for the 7th inning with a 5-1 lead and complete command of the game.
Yep.
Feeling pretty good. Leadoff walk caused a little bit of concern. Man, since that time, there's been some ropes.
Trumbo was the last hitter that Martin faced. He hit the ball out of the ballpark to center, which, you know, even then I didn't feel like it was that uncomfortable a position. But boy, Baltimore just turned on the faucet and nobody's been able to turn it off since. The ground ball just fouled.
The only way they got out of the 7th inning was J.J. Hardy hit a 100-mile-an-hour missile right at Adrian Beltre at third base. I guess it shows how well Martin was throwing for 6 innings of this ball game to hold them down the way he did.
Yep. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. Into center field. And Delino handles that. 2 gone. Next will be Joey Rickert, the leadoff hitter. Well, folks, MLB.TV Premium, everything you have come to expect and a lot more. There's also a new low price for 2016. You can watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Just visit MLB.TV. Rickert 2 for 4 this evening. And a 1-hopper right to Alberto. And that'll do it. A run on the leadoff home run by Schoop. Bottom of the 8th coming up. It is 11-5 Baltimore.
To do as we head to the bottom of the 8th with Texas trailing Baltimore by a score of 11-5. This is the second of 4 between the Orioles and the Rangers. Game 3 will take place tomorrow night here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. 7 o'clock first pitch here on Fox Sports Southwest. The former Ranger Yovani Gallardo gets the ball for the O's. He'll take on Elvis Andrews, who has 7 hits in his last 12 ABs and 4 runs scored. Our thanks to the fine folks at AT&T High-Speed Internet for getting us ready for Game 3 between these two tomorrow. Guys.
All right, Em, thank you. Well, Brad Brach on again this evening. We saw him in last night's game working to Nomar Mazara. Brach in his 7th ball game of the year, 2-0 record. He has not been scored upon this year, 6 1/3 innings. Good, lively fastball. He runs it up there in the mid, sometimes upper 90s.
He's got a no-hitter going this year. In 6 games, he hasn't given up anything yet. Well, he's given up a few walks, but still looking for a hit off of him.
And that kind of stuff, at least last night, too, and what we've seen here early tonight. He got some movement and pretty good pop on that fastball. Mazara tonight 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. Nomar trying to get aboard to start the Ranger 8th. He'll be followed by the DH Prince Fielder. And a little looper to left. That's a base hit. And Mazara continues his streak of getting on base. He has been on base in all of his major league games, his 6th.
First one this year to get hit against Brad Brock, too. It's a pretty good pitch. Probably not a strike. In fact, not even close to a strike. Looks like they moved the strike zone over a foot. Well, he reaches for it, serves it out to left field.
Fielder fouling that ball down for strike 1. And Mazara, if you have the ability to do that, and as quick as he is inside, you're probably not going to have many long hitless streaks, I would think.
No, I think the fact that he makes pretty good contact certainly helps too.
Right.
He's not a guy that's going to strike out 180 times. Good off-speed pitch with some movement on it.
0-2 to Prince. Fielder tonight 0 for 3, a couple of fly outs, a ground out. In the dirt, swung on and missed. That is strike 3. Down to second on the wild pitch, Nomar Mazara. The fielder retired, 1 away. Adrian Beltre coming up. You look at O'Day and you look at Brock and the rest of the guys down there. We saw Gibbons last night. They haven't seen Zach Britton. He's their closer, but boy, they've got some guys down there that can bring it and get outs in a hurry. Oh, and 1 to Adrian. 0 for 3 also tonight. Brock with Baltimore the last 2 years. Originally property of the San Diego Padres organization. Made his major league debut back in 2011.
Yeah, they got him for a minor league pitcher. I don't know much about the minor league pitcher. I don't think he surfaced at the big leagues yet. And that was a great trade. They got Darren O'Day on a waiver claim. Well, they've pieced together a pretty good bullpen.
He developed Zach Britton as a starter originally. Turned him into an excellent closer. One and 2 to Beltre. Brock played his college ball along with his brother Brett at Monmouth College. Adrian just able to get a piece of that to stay alive. Adrian off to a very good start, producing runs. Runners in scoring position this year, hitting .333. And Adrian, as we have seen a lot, hanging tough. And a strikeout that Beltre had in the second inning, his first in 29 plate appearances. Slowly hit down the third baseline, and no play from Machado. He goes back to third, and Mazara beats the throw.
That was a close play.
I don't think Nomar Mazara thought anybody could get there, or there would be a play there to begin with.
That's a pretty good hustle by Hardy. Shortstop got over there and covered third. Nomar, I think he thinks he's going to make it easily into third base.
Yeah.
He did know enough to slide, though. They're going to check it out. They're going to look at a replay.
It didn't look like the tag was on him long enough to say that when he came off the bag, the tag was still there. Oh, what an effort that was. Whether he's safe or out, that was a great effort by Machado. And Hardy.
It's kind of a Derek Jeter type play. Heads up play by Hardy and a hustle all the way.
Oh, the appeal by Buck Showalter. Paul Emmel, the third base umpire who made the call, and crew chief Mike Everett with the headsets on. They're hooked up to the replay command center back in New York. Clear and convincing evidence to overturn that call.
Didn't look like it, but we're still looking at it.
Seems like we've had more close calls already in the Rangers' first 12 games this season than I can remember last year, a similar number of games. Umpire crew listening to what the folks back in New York have to say as they mull over the different angles. And he is out at third. Wow. Well, apparently that tag got down quickly enough. And not only is that an out at third, it takes a base hit away from Beltre, I believe.
Yeah, I always thought that you could. It was up to the scorekeeper, the discretion of the scorekeeper on that. Yeah, they got the call. I didn't see it.
So 2 away. Here's Mitch Moreland, 1 for 3. Moreland, that booming home run into the bullpen in left center field his first time up. Since then, he has struck out and grounded out. Two and 0. You know, the scoreboard still has a hit up there for Beltre, so maybe you're right, Tom.
You know, Mazara didn't take off as soon as the ball was hit. He held up, paused, and then went. I don't know if that factors into it or not, but I have to think that Beltre was already to first base by the time the tag was made at third.
Two and 2 down to Mitch.
Watch Mazara, when the ball's hit, he's going to pause just a second and then take off. Well, what a play by Hardy. That's a heads-up play. Oh, really? I think he went when he saw Mazara pause and then start toward third.
You know, the official score tonight, Larry Bump, so that's going to be his call to make. Two balls, 2 strikes to Mitch. Another pop foul backing out of play. And the Rangers and Orioles back at it again tomorrow night. Former Ranger Yovani Gallardo will be on the hill for Baltimore. Colby Lewis getting a start. And Moreland gone on strikes. Rangers out in the 8th inning. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 man left. We're going to the 9th inning. It remains the Orioles 11 and the Rangers 5.
Well, that is not the prettiest of pictures. I mean, the picture behind the words is pretty. It's just those words not looking that great. Rangers with a lot of work to do if they want to get this one tonight. But no matter what happens in the game, we're here in the Captain Morgan Club for Rangers postgame coming your way immediately following the game. It's Rangers Live with me, Mark McLemore, Pudge Rodriguez. We'll hear from Banny and some of the players and get the thoughts of Emily Jones and Buzz and Tom as well. But for now, guys, we get it back over to you.
All right, John, thank you. Well, taking the hill now for the ninth inning, Alex Claudio. Claudio coming on to become the fourth pitcher tonight used by Jeff Bannister. Claudio appearing in one game since his recall from AAA Round Rock. And Claudio will face Manny Machado, Adams Jones, and Chris Davis here in the ninth. Ryan Rua has entered the ball game. He'll play at first base in place of Mitch Moreland. Machado a double in 3 official trips tonight. Machado came within maybe half a foot of hitting the ball out into the Ranger bullpen his last time up. Claudio fires a strike, 2-1. It seemed like in that 7th inning, somebody snuck in a bunch of Titleists instead of baseballs those guys were hitting.
They were hitting them on the good part of the bat, boy.
Man. 2-2. Orioles put 9 on the board in that 7th inning. 9 runs on 7 hits, 4 home runs. Changeup had him reaching for it. And Rua is going to call. No, he's not. Alex Claudio said, hey, I'm going to take care of this myself.
Don't see that very often, but he wasn't getting out of the way.
That'll be a fine in Kangaroo Court, I've got to believe, though. Pitcher showing up the infielders.
I got it, and I'm staying there.
He dropped it. Yeah, I would have liked to hear what Adrian said to him. So 1 out. Adam Jones, a couple of hits and a couple of runs driven in tonight. Jones coming back from that rib injury that forced him out of the lineup for the better part of a week. Last night took an 0 for tonight, a couple of base hits. To right field, Mazara going back to near the track. 2 gone. And next will be Chris Davis.
First baseman Chris Davis.
Davis has walked each of his last 2 times up, and immediately preceding home runs by Mark Trumbo. So I would suggest don't walk Chris Davis here. That way you don't have to face Trumbo to get him out.
And Martin had struck Chris out the first 2 times up. And with a 5-1 lead, the walk in the 7th didn't look that alarming, as we've said before. Turned out it was.
And a broken bat roller. Alberto handles it on the first base side of second, and it's a quick 1-2-3 inning for Alex Claudio. Orioles gone. Rangers coming to bat at the bottom of the ninth, trailing 11-5. Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By AT&T High-Speed Internet. Get a deal worth talking about, get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Now the Weatherford native, Zach Britton, a closer for the Orioles, on now. He has not appeared in a couple of days. Buck Showalter going to run him out there for the 9th inning here tonight. Ian Desmond starting things off, and Britton, that good left-handed sinker ball, throws strike one.
You won't see many better than this guy as far as a mid-90s sinker goes.
You talk about a guy that has gone from starting to the bullpen and made himself one of the top closers in the league. The Rangers, I think, using Zach Britton as a good example of what they feel Andrew Faulkner could be. Making that transition from a starter to a reliever with very good stuff from the left side. Obviously, there's some differences between the two as far as pitching goes, but you know, they both have that same quality. Their stuff plays very well at the end of the ballgame. Ian Desmond tonight 0 for 2 with a walk. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Zach Britton, a graduate of Weatherford High School. Orioles took him in the 3rd round of the 2006 June draft. He was a starter until 2013. Last year that he started in the Orioles organization. Became a superb closer the next year, and the rest, as they say, is history. And so is Ian Desmond. Strikeout number 1. Rougned Odor is next.
This sinker has as much movement as any sinker, and the velocity is mid-90s. The last pitch was a hard slider that pretty much went straight down too, 10 miles an hour slower than the sinker.
Like that one?
Yeah, that's a pretty good slider. I guess that's a slider.
Yeah. Well, he,
almost like a curveball.
Yeah, he can call it whatever he wants to. It's unhittable when he throws it like that. Odor tonight 1 for 3 with a base hit and a run scored. Look out.
The first pitch curved from left to right. That last one went straight down. I don't know if it's the same. Sparky Lyle used to throw a slider almost every pitch, but they didn't break the same way every time. Some of them broke down and into a right-hand hitter. Some broke straight down. I don't know if he was trying to do that or if they just broke a little bit differently.
That wasn't one of those Gaylord Perry's sinkers.
No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so.
Just wondered. 2-1 to Rougned. Gaylord said that was his fork ball, isn't it? You know what he called it?
Well, Gaylord did have a fork ball.
Yeah. He could throw a fork ball. The question is, did he ever throw it?
I think he did.
Talked about it.
I think he did.
2-2 on the foul ball. But yeah, as far as Zach Britton goes, Tom, you're not going to see many left-handers, especially that have that kind of sinking action. And some guys, you know, throw the upper 80s to low 90s. The ball moves pretty good, but the guy that throws this hard and has that kind of late sink to it, you just don't see it very often.
No.
A broken bat looper that Scope will handle on the hop. 2 gone.
Yeah, this guy's no fun to face. Doesn't matter whether you're a lefty or a righty.
Well, Hanser Alberto will get an at-bat here this evening. Took over for Elvis defensively in the 8th inning. Now he's going to get an at-bat here in the 9th. Hanser 1 for 10 so far this year. 95 and moving all over the place. Britton back to him. To right field. Long run over for Reimold. Running out of room. And it's a foul ball. Reimold ran out of room real fast. No, 0-2 the count. Well, that wasn't fouled by much, was it?
No, that was fair. Definitely smelling that wall, though.
Nothing in 2 to Hanser Alberto. Rangers down to their final out, and Orioles 1 out away from evening this series up at a win apiece. Got him swinging. Well, Britton, a 2-strikeout 9th inning, 1-2-3, and the Rangers are out. And the ball game is over as the Orioles explode for 9 in the 7th. They go on to an 11-5 win over the Rangers and tie up this series at a game apiece. We'll total things out for you. Be back with more from Globe Life Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.